Well, also down in D.C., as we first reported to you this morning, new bombshells in the Justice Department's failed gun-running sting operation dubbed Operation Fast and Furious. Right now, there's a hearing underway on Capitol Hill, and according to a new congressional report, ATF officials based in Mexico City were denied access to information from their counterparts in the United States, allowing thousands of guns to fall into the hands of Mexican drug cartels. Joining me now to talk more about this, ranking member of the Senate Judiciary Committee, Iowa Senator Chuck Grassley. So, Senator, you've been following, obviously you've been a part of this investigation. What's the biggest development of the morning for you?
I think two or three things. One, you already mentioned about people in our with ATF in our Mexico City embassy. They were asking questions over a long period of time about this Fast and Furious. They never got any answers. They testified today when they found out about it. They were very, very embarrassed. Another thing that comes up is that if you're going to have wiretaps approved, it has to be done at the Assistant Attorney General level, and that's above the ATF. So we know at least one wiretap was approved, which tells me whether he knew about Fast and Furious or not, I don't know, but there was a wiretap approved at that level. So that gets us to a higher level within the Justice Department than we've really been able to verify before. And then we also had people that were agents in charge in Phoenix say to us that there really wasn't a plan to have guns walk across the border. But that's a natural extension of Fast and Furious anyway, which was to sell guns to straw people. But the denial that the idea was to walk them across the border, then I don't know what the whole program was about in the first place. So
there's a lot of, it seems that what you're saying is there is a lot of secrets about this program within our own government and within the department. Do I have that right, sir?
Well, absolutely. In fact, that's what the term Fast and Furious is all about. And I know you know it, but I'll repeat it, that somebody in ATF decided that we ought to allow our licensed gun dealers, encourage them to sell guns illegally to straw people, maybe even have the federal taxpayers pay for it. We haven't proved that yet. And then these guns would go across the border to the drug cartels, and we would be able to arrest drug kingpins as a result of it. But what happened was, and people at the grassroots of ATF said that this was going to happen. That's before they even came to us as whistleblowers. They reported above, this is a bad policy. Well, then Agent Terry was murdered with one of these guns, or at least we think he was murdered. These guns were at the scene. There's 1,880 guns found their way across out of illegal sale.
And how many guns of those that you mentioned are still out there?
Oh, they'd all be out there. Well, maybe a few of them have been come back because we do have the serial numbers on them. But remember, this isn't something that you're going to sweep all these guns up ever. These guns are going to be out there doing terror for decades now into the future.
Well, so I don't know if this is devil's advocate, but here's a question for you about this program. Do you think this cloak and dagger nature of this program that you're describing is intentional? Do you think it's intentional by the Justice Department, or do you think this is bureaucracy, bad communication, a plan that wasn't necessarily thought through, but not necessarily was sinister?
Well, it was intentional. It wasn't well thought through. It was a cowboy mentality, and a person was murdered as a result of it. But the bad thing about it is that people at the grassroots, as opposed to people up here in Washington that thought the program up, they tried to get ATF to stop it because it wasn't going to work, and the prophecy became true with the murder of Border Patrol Agent Terry.
Who do you want to take responsibility for this?
Well, that's our main question. I want the person that's responsible at the highest level of government to come forth and say who he was.
Is that Eric Holder? He's the head of the Justice Department.
You know, I'd like to say I know that for a fact, but I don't. We don't know how high up in justice this goes. That's the whole motive of our investigation, or at least part of the motive of our investigation.
Senator Grassley, it's always nice to talk to you. I would love to hear about what's next, and I know you're going to be speaking more about this. So thank you so much for joining us here on Happening Now. If our audience wants to hear more from the senator, you can go over to live.foxnews.com. The senator is going to be joining Patty Ann Brown for more on this topic in just a few minutes. So if you have any questions, you can go ahead and post it to the live chat. It's, again, on foxnews.com. Much more to come on that discussion.